to present here Notal Vision. We are a patient-centric home monitoring services provider. We currently offer the 4C Home AMD monitoring program, which patients use at home, a teleconnected to device, and it's AI-enabled and allows the detection of conversion from intermediate dry to wet AMD. And in our pipeline, we have a OCT device, again, teleconnected, AI-enabled, that will allow to monitor patients with exudative retinal diseases. Now, we act as a healthcare provider. We're Medicare accredited. We bill Medicare for the remote monitoring services that we provide. And we really take all the heavy lifting of the ophthalmologists and optometrists that refer patients to our service. We perform all the insurance verification, engage with the patients remotely. We monitor patients' compliance to make sure that we're receiving enough data to provide feedback on what the status of the patient's vision is. And then we inform the ophthalmologists that refer patients to us when there is a noticeable change in the retina that needs attention. And with that, we're filling a gap that office-based ophthalmology is challenged with. A lot can happen to an eye in between office visits. And now, why is that relevant? And we've been talking this morning about anti-VEGF therapy. The visual acuity at diagnosis is really the key determinant of how patient will fare in the long run. And unfortunately, only 30% of patients get diagnosed with functional vision. And these patients are that have good vision, they end up in the top swim lanes here, but the ones that have low vision, they don't really regain functional vision. Now, the 4C Home monitoring program has been out for a number of years. We've tested over 19,000 patients on this platform. It's FDA cleared, CE marked, and it's Medicare covered. It uses a functional test called preferential high acuity perimetry. And given the magnitude of data that's generated from the patient's home, it needs AI to grade all these visual fields. With the benefit that 81% of patients that use 4C Home, when they convert to wet AMD, have functional vision. That's a stark contrast to the standard of care that we're seeing in the IRIS registry, where it's only a third of patients that get diagnosed with functional vision. And the real world data here very much mirrors what we've seen in the original trial, the home study that led to the FDA approval. Now, all of that is possible only because patients are highly compliant in using this technology. In the real world, patients use the platform 5.6 times a week. And that's also thanks to the remote monitoring center that engages the patient whenever there is a time where patients are non-compliant. So we're reminding the patients. Now let's switch over to exudative retinal diseases. Again, it's been discussed that the real-world data does not match the randomized controlled outcomes, and that's mainly because of undertreatment of patients, and that's where our home OCT platform comes in to again provide insights into the disease activity in between office visits to prompt office visits and better personalize treatment. What you see here on the right is the device. In the OCT images, the patients generate scanning at home. The patient journey starts with a retina specialist referral to our service. We then provide the device as part of the service. It's free of charge to the retina specialist. The data that gets sent to us then gets analyzed, and again, we monitor the compliance. We're using a very dense scan pattern to pick up very small amounts of fluid that present in the retina, and then use an AI algorithm to identify and for the first time quantify the nanoliter amounts of fluid that are present in the retina. So that to the topic of the session today of where does AI really make a difference? Again, patients scanning daily at home, the amount of OCT images that are being generated cannot be graded by a human. It needs AI to do this job. The retina specialist can then set a fluid alert threshold and say, if a certain volume of fluid is reached, then I want to be notified because I want to take a look at these images and want to bring the patient into the office. And that's going to be a service that retina specialists will be able to bill for, because with the support by the AO, we've been able to establish already billing codes, CPT codes for remote OCT that cover both our monitoring service as well as the monthly review of data that the platform provides. Over 450 patients have imaged on the platform. So far, we looked at the usability in wet AMD patients. 90% have been able to self-operate the device. Looking at the image quality, sensitivity, specificity is really high in identifying fluid, and our algorithm then tracks the fluid over time. You see a curve on the bottom right, that subretinal fluid tracked over time with really, really high temporal granularity. So far, we're taking snapshots of the retina in an office setting, weeks apart. Now we can actually take movies of OCTs and see how disease activity and also how the fluid treatment response looks like on a daily basis. We've just completed longitudinal study in the US, again, achieved high compliance, patients self-imaged 5.7 times per week. Here you see a very illustrative example at patients' right eye and left eye. The right eye really responded well to therapy, only very little fluid present, but on the patient's left eye, there was extensive fluid exposure, and that, of course, could have been minimized if the physician had access to this type of information. Now, how will home OCT support the treatment decisions? Patients can be treated as needed in a daily PRN, extended faster and further. Also, switch decisions from an off to an on-label drug can be made faster, and potentially also more expensive treatments can be justified with the insights and the disease dynamics that we gain. Obviously, there's very high interest from pharma companies, and we're currently providing remote monitoring services to a number of them, especially as it comes to the longer-acting drugs, where really we're addressing the monitoring burden, while, of course, the longer-acting drugs reduce the treatment burden on patients. So these go hand in hand. Where are we on our roadmap? The device received FDA breakthrough designation. CPT codes have already been established. We finished longitudinal studies in Israel and the US. We finished the Series D in May and have a second closing in November. We're inviting contributions. FDA clearance, the pivotal trials are ongoing. On the reimbursement side, codes are established. We're ramping up manufacturing right now, and as for the commercial model, it's the same prescription model that we use for the 4C Home. With the home OCT, there will also be an opportunity for physicians to bill, despite the AI being involved. It needs the physician judgment, and given that OCT is very well established, we expect a really fast uptake of that technology. Thank you very much.